uses. And it's a giant blimp. So it doesn't matter, though. The Soros propaganda front slanders Rand Paul and Alex Jones. There's 1.4+ billion bullets bought. Social Security Administration, everybody's getting them. The National Weather Service wanted hundreds of thousands of rounds of ammo, 15,000 of this office, 23,000 of that office. That's what the document said. They came out in the Washington Post and said, well, it's a sub-agency of ours, but technically, you know, we bought them, but it's for the NOAA dolphin protectors or whatever. Yeah, sure. It's for the greenie police. And then the Soros outfit spun it that Rand Paul, Senator Paul, and myself, and Drudge Report and whoever else covered it, that we just made it up that Fish and Wildlife or National Weather Service was getting this. When they're done with it, it's like, look at these people. They made up blimps. They made up drones. Remember that a few months ago? There's hundreds of articles. There's no drones over the U.S. That nasty Alex Jones and that nasty Matt Drudge and just lying to you. I said hundreds of papers. Over 500 that I know of. 4 or 5 different articles, different people, the same script, the same government plagiarized dribble was put in newspapers everywhere telling, farmers, now farmers. There's no drones watching you. In one of the cases Kurt Nemo wrote about at Infowars.com, they cherry-picked it where Congress people were complaining, and it was manned Cessna spying on the farmers. Sure, there were other drones in the Air Force and South Dakota, North Dakota, people getting, but this, no, they took that. Well, that one thing we linked to was manned aircraft spying. The whole point is they're spying on us and arming to the teeth against us, and they spun it and went, they made it up. There's no drones, sweetie cake. That's why you have no readers. That's why you're a joke. That's why everyone hates you. People know the games you're playing now. People know. The big news is up at drudgereport.com. It's Infowars.com reports Steve Watson, Pentagon developing autonomous humanoid robots, wait for it, to perform evacuation operations. Just like the drones that were for evacuations, and now they admit they're going to be weaponized in America. Oh, the combat robots, they're humanoid, bipedal. It looks just like the Terminator, just like I told you. But never mind, they're coming to save you. During emergencies, you know, when the guns get taken, if you fight back, well, you know what, the weapons package will go live.
Baby, won't you change your mind?
We've got all this incredibly serious news to go over. But remember, truth is stranger than fiction, and there's a lot of interesting things that go on in the world. In fact, speaking of that, before I get back into serious news from around the world, and here domestically ahead of Max Keiser and others joining us today on this Friday edition, I wanted to briefly talk about, well, a couple different issues. Well, one of them is serious. We have Dave Mustaine's exclusive response to the media's demonization campaign of him coming out and saying Obama could have been behind the shootings in Colorado and Wisconsin. Look, if government's done it before and Obama's run false flags like Fast and Furious, and it has all the signs with the witnesses at the Sikh temple, and even Larry Pratt of Gunners of America is coming out and saying that they have to be looked at as suspects, as prime suspects. When there's a bank robbery, you go round up the bank robbers who've been let out of prison and you interrogate them. I mean, it's very, very simple. They stand to gain. It was the timing. You go through all the evidence. I'm not going to do that again here today. We need to defend his courage. So the article's red linked at Infowars.com defending him. He defends himself, pointing out, hey, I'm just saying what Larry Pratt and Alex Jones basically said. And it's red linked. I'd ask you to get that and get it out to everybody you know. Exclusive, Dave Mustaine clarifies Obama staged shooting statement. Speaking of shootings, finally, people are striking back. Politico, Family Research Council head blames Southern Poverty Law Center for listing them as terrorists. I mean, you list somebody as extremist, mix them in with terrorist, and then somebody goes and attacks them because the Family Research Council, who, by the way, is pretty milquetoast. But they say, don't teach 8-year-olds about sex, period, whether it be heterosexual or homosexual. And so the guy goes and attacks him over it, saying he's mad at Chick-fil-A. That's now official. This is a hate crime. But again, I don't want to play into their game of going, okay, well, then charge him with a hate crime. Hey, attempted murder, shooting somebody, you know, people stopped him there, though. It wasn't a bunch of victims. So, no. Just charge him with the attempted murder, assault with a deadly weapon. He'll get 30, 40 years in prison. We don't want to play your game of, oh, because it was hate motivated, he gets more time. Hey, somebody shoots you in your house to rob you, you need to get the death penalty. Somebody kills you because you're white, you need to get the death penalty. Somebody kills you because you're black, you need to get the death penalty. That's where I stand on this stuff. I mean, the guys that drugged that poor black man to death 6, 7 years ago that's made so much news down in East Texas, they all got the death penalty. Last time I checked, they've executed a couple of them. And there was this big thing on the news. I remember Jesse Jackson. Nothing was done. What? Nothing was done because there wasn't a hate law? You mean a thought crime law where now in Europe they arrest you for not smiling at the Olympics in England? Where they arrest you if you criticize somebody's religion or sexual. They arrest people if you criticize Muslims. They arrest you if you criticize homosexuals. And by the way, the homosexual lobby, who I'm not even attacking these people. This is not even my big axe to grind, except they're authoritarian. At least the ones that speak for them are like, yeah, arrest somebody if you use the word homosexual. Robin Page, I had him on the show like 7 years ago. BBC, host of One Man and His Dog, a rural affairs show, wasn't even political, said at a speech when they were trying to take rural property and ban hunting, he said, hey, our rural communities deserve the same rights as Muslims and homosexuals. They arrested him saying the word homosexual is hateful. Folks, this is political correctness where you can't even use scientific words. People are so ignorant now, they think Caucasian is a slang term. They think Negro is a slang term, a insult, a slight, an attack. They think homosexual is, or heterosexual. No, these are names. If you say Asiatic, it's not attacking Asians. People don't say Oriental anymore about folks in the Orient. The political correctness is a war on words, a war on communications. It's pure authoritarianism. You people aren't liberals. You're a bunch of control freak nutcases who can't compete and want to muzzle the rest of us. Well, you know what? I'm off your plantation. I'm not a colonist of the New World Order.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run.
And if George Soros isn't a foreigner who's become an American, so he's a domestic enemy, I don't know what is. Pushing his anti-gun, anti-family garbage, attacking me through his fake surrogates, White House run, tax exemption, just absolutely disgusting. We're going to be breaking some of that down coming up. Again, Soros propaganda front slanders Senator Rand Paul and Alex Jones. Ecuador President Rafael, we are not a colony. He stands up to the jackbooted British Gestapo, Paul Craig Roberts. Absolutely. The British government that sucked off the great British people and the great Irish and Scottish people around them isn't even British. It's Transylvanian. They call it German royalty. They're not even German. But my point is they have sucked off those people and built a global empire that the Brits paid for. And remember the whole Falklands War? Remember the battleship getting sunk and all that? Where the submarine, blew up the former U.S. Battleship that was Brazilian, wasn't it? I mean, it's ridiculous. You've got Britain, that is the globalists that run it, picking on people and trying to take their islands, their waterways. Yeah, they're not a colony. And by the way, we're not a colony of the globalists. It's the British model that we're under today. That's what the New World Order is, in Carol Quigley's own words at Georgetown, in Cecil Rhodes' own words, in the Council on Foreign Relations' own words. So we're going to be getting into that with Max Keiser as well. The whole world's lining up for war here. And, our forebears said that 236 years ago. They said, look, we're not a colony, okay? We're not your slaves. We're not going to sit here and pay you all these taxes, because they were Englishmen, but they weren't being given the rights that had already been gained in England. They said, okay, we'll just stand up to you. Because at a certain point, you get past the fear and you You're so disgusted at being a slave and being pushed around and having lesser men dominate you that you just say, you know what? You're looking for a fight. You better believe you got one. That's how it works. And no amount of drones and weapons and 1.4 billion rounds of ammo. You're buying all that because you're scared because you see us buying millions of guns a month. But again, I don't even want to fight with the Americans that serve the globalists. I want to wake them up. I don't have some macho imperative that I need to go out and, see a civil war, because, ooh, it's sexy and fun. There's nothing sexy and fun about it. But I will not be a slave. Period. And the only reason we have so much prosperity in this country, the media loves to tell you how bad America is and all our horrible past. Compared to other countries, we've been great. Because the basic ideas of liberty that were later adopted that everyone demanded, what's in the Bill of Rights, Constitution, Declaration of Independence, that idea is 180 degrees against what the globalists want. That's why they're so angry. We've always had monopolies with the monopoly elites and every culture running things. This system was the first time, starting with the Renaissance and the General Enlightenment 500 years ago, roughly 550 years ago or so, right through to 1776, the greatest flowering of it, through to the prosperity it created, and then the decadence. And there's the modern sophistication of the world, which allows corruption to hide better, until it takes over and then declares war on the segments, the remnants of goodness that are left, because the remnants of good could sprout at any time and grow and overthrow the evil. Evil seeks to eradicate good because it's threatened by it. It's at war with each other. What an amazing show yesterday. Richard Belzer on the show, big movie star, TV host, author, comedian. And then he's like, hey, I'm at Chris Walken's house. And the crew's like, did he just say Christopher Walken? So we go to break, and the really good stuff was during that 4-minute break, the long break at 20 after that we take. The other breaks are 3 minutes long. Well, top of the hour is 1 minute. Or end of the hour is 1 minute. And I walk in the control room, and he goes, yeah, hey, here he is. And then there's Christopher Walken. We talk for a few minutes, and then he gets on air and plays it safe and wants to talk about cooking chickens and French wine. That was probably one of the weirdest moments in my radio show. And folks, we've had a lot of them. Of course, it was also streaming video at Prisonplanet.tv, or no one would have believed it. But I walked in there 30 seconds in. He goes, yeah, you want to talk to him? And there's Christopher Walken, what an interesting person, looking at us on Skype. I was just like, it's ridiculous. There's the added funniness. At first, he was sitting in Belzer's lap because there was only one chair, and they got another chair in there. And the crew flipped their phones on and started taping all this. We have it on tape. And I'm saying, stop that. But then there's that effect around celebrity. People just can't help it. Even if you're over celebrity, when it's a really interesting celebrity, it's not just that they're a celebrity, it's that they're so interesting. I'm going to ask them next week. We're going to get Belzer back on and say, hey, by the way, we have the behind the scenes talk. You want us to put that out? I told anybody puts that out before we get authorization, you just delivered yourself a pink slip. You erased yours? Well, that wasn't good, John. If they let us use it, even though I know I told you not to shoot it.